Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us, wherever you're listening in any part of the world. We are going to have viewers in 200 different nationalities and principalities across the world. We are here at the special hall. Kieran, go up there with all the supplies. It's manic here at the minute, very, very exciting. We are going live now on many different audio and streaming platforms. So we're on the website, we're on many other platforms in terms of Facebook Live, LinkedIn, TikTok. This is courtesy of brilliant work by our team at WLR and also by SETU Audio Visual. Eddie's on the cameras today. Eddie is going to be showing the entrance door. That's where people will be coming in. And it's a ticketed affair, a fully ticketed affair. So we're going to go inside here. We're in the hall in the SETU main campus, and this may well be repeated later on in the evening, so you might be watching this on playback. So Eddie is just going to pan across there now, and you can see all the people getting ready to go. The time now is 8:48, and we are 12 minutes before the opening of the boxes. We're going to bring you through this entire process and let you know what's happening. So we are doing something historic here. We are going to be broadcasting live from one count centre for approximately 10 hours, maybe even longer, depending on how it goes. We're at the Waterford Count Centre. We will be bringing you updates from journalists and expert analysis from across the country as well throughout the day. So effectively, we're setting up a television channel for the day here in Waterford. We're also going to do something that's never been done before. We are going to, from the very second the boxes are opened, we are going to show you how the tally system works. Ireland is unique in world democracies in how this system works. We should be very proud of the system, and the system sometimes is clouded in secrecy. So we're going to delve into it. We're going to show you what it's like behind the scenes. We're going to explain it to you. And in a way, it is a celebration of our democratic traditions. It's brilliant. It's really, really great. You can even get down to how close an area somebody may have voted in. Political parties would have used a lot of this information in the past for various reasons, and they still use it to know who votes for them as quick as possible. So, up in our studio, in our building just behind us, the room upstairs, we have Dean and we have Keane, and they are going to be dipping in and out of some wide shots, and we'll get a wide shot there of the hall as it is. And as you're looking at the wide shot of the hall, what you're seeing is a cordoned off area. Again, a lot of people would never have been to a count centre. And there's railings. So inside those railings are all the council officials or the court officials. So these are people that will be emptying out the boxes onto the tables, and from that they will then be sorting the ballots. So the first thing is to sort the ballots, and I'll explain this as it happens just before the boxes are opened. They effectively will be putting the ballots out on the table, and the people on the other side of the railing will be able to see these ballots, and they're allowed to see them, and it's part of the process. And they'll actually open up the ballots facing the people outside of the railings so they can read what numbers are on it. So each ballot paper has the names of the candidates, and beside them there's a box, and it might be 1, 2, 3 or 4, maybe all the way down to 15 as it is here in Waterford. So the tally men and women, you can call them, I suppose, the secret purveyors of this amazing experience. We're going to look at them and examine them, and a bit like David Attenborough, we're going to be looking and seeing how these aficionados of the electoral process will hunt for their prey. And the prey is information. Information, information, information. It is key. So I'm just going to ask Eddie to pan around there, and there's one lady just in front of us, and she has a pink sticker on her back. So watch out for these pink stickers. These are the people that have been designated by the parties to tally the sheets. So you'll have people working in pairs, and the pink stickers may well be the runners. They will effectively get the tally sheet, give them to some other people, and they then will give them over to a room 136 steps away, which is going to be using a combined tally, and all the information then will be put together in relation to this. So there'll be one person looking at the ballot sheet and will call, let's say David Cullinan, for example. Cullinan 1. They'll only call the first preference. There are some other more intricate tally men and women assigned in different boxes that will be looking at second tallies. But for the purpose of this, it's first preference tallies. So they're going to work in pairs. Somebody will say Cullinan 1. Then the next ballot paper will come out and they'll say Butler 1. So the person then will have a tally sheet, and they will write on this tally sheet, I suppose, a little tick beside each candidate, depending on the number of number ones they get from that box. Okay? Now, let's walk around a little bit and we'll get you some shots here. Eddie will walk across here. And we'll stand here at the corner for a second and we'll pan down there. So as you can see, we have all the counters, all the people that are coming out. They're waiting for the boxes behind them to be put on the table. Then we have the tally men and women who are looking over the railings, and they are going to be explaining and capturing this information. And the parties work together in most constituencies. It's really, really good. They work together and they share their tally information, which is very important, because what that means that when all the information is collated, it turns out to be very accurate. And that's why the Irish electoral system plays such an importance on the tallies. Now, there is obviously a proviso, and you'll hear this throughout the day. If one box is opened, we can't judge it too much on this, that, and the other. But once the combined tallies are confirmed, you will then have a very good indication of the first preference vote. You won't have information regarding second and third preferences, which form the basis of an awful lot of transfers as they happen. But the first preference tally is very important, and that will come across in the next few hours. So the first thing to say is the boxes are all numbered. There are 171 boxes in the Waterford constituency. There was 70 polling stations, 171 boxes, okay? The boxes are numbered 1 to 171. So the first 35 boxes are about to be opened. And Eddie is going to focus in on the boxes that are just behind those officials, and then there's other boxes that are over there. They'll be coming up in the second tranche. So Michelle O'Connell, the returning officer, has decided that the boxes will be opened in groups of 35. So the first 35 boxes will be opened at 9 o'clock. You will see them being put on the tables. All the ballot papers will spill out of the boxes. It's around 5 minutes to go, a very exciting time. And again, if anybody is watching this in a school afterwards or from a historical perspective, because again, this is the first time that this has ever been done in Ireland. So there may well be students of politics in schools or colleges around the country that might be watching this. Just to let you know, the first 35 boxes that are going to be opened. We have Fenner, we have Butlerstown, there's a number of boxes in Ferrybank, there's a number of boxes in Ballybricken, Clayboy, Greystew, Waterford City. Then we have Tramore Urban, East Side and West Side, and Tramore Central. So nearly half of the boxes that are to be opened in the first 35 will be from Tramore. The very first box that's going to be opened is from Fenner, okay? So let's say there's 120 votes in that box. The people that are tallying that box, that are counting, marking the first preferences, they will fill it out on a sheet. Once that sheet is complete, somebody will be given that sheet and they will literally walk across to the main tally room 136 feet away. Before they exit the building here, we have some great help from all the party workers, and they are going to let us look at the tally sheet. So we're going to be taking pictures of the tally sheet, let's say for example Fenner, and we will give that information to you. Once you have that information, if you're living in the Fenner area, 120 votes, there could be 20 for Mary Butler, 30 for John Cummins, there might be whatever the case may be. So wherever you're watching in the world, or wherever you're watching in Waterford or South Kilkenny, or people in Mayo, Dacia people, wherever the case may be, but it's not just that, it's just to show you the excitement of the tally process. It really is a very exciting process. And again, RT and others, they're here as well, they do great work, but I don't think anybody, we don't think anybody has ever done this to actually show you the tally process as it happens. So effectively we will be following the tally sheet. If we have 171 boxes, we may well have 171 tally sheets. We may not. But even if we got 60 or 70, it'll give you a very good indication from your area. So if you're in Passage, if you're in Ballysaggart, if you're in Farransheeneen, if you're in Portlaw, we will get as many tally sheets as possible. If we don't get your specific tally sheet, we will try and find it out afterwards in terms of the overall tally, because they will all be inputted into a computer, but we will be able to access that information as well. So for the next 2 hours, again, 2 minutes to go now before the opening of the boxes, I'll get Eddie to come over here and we can see the boxes behind us. For the next 2 hours, we are going to be examining those tally sheets.
Good morning,
we are going to be looking at them and seeing how it goes.
The returning officer.
Now we've got some information from the returning officer. Number of announcements from the returning officer, and we'll let Keane or Dean take a wide shot on this.
Aguina Ushla, Builo Yi Irv Ermaden. It's Misha Michelle Nichonel. August is May on Kian Curve O'Toole the whole counter 4th Lariga. Bualam Corfolta Corruv, Quigan Onit Curve Shaw Ibort Lariga, La Haigan Curve San Olacon, Don Caharu Dol is Treca. Good morning, everybody. I'm Michelle O'Connell and I'm the returning officer for the constituency of Waterford. I would like to welcome you to the Count Centre here in the South Eastern Technical University Waterford for the count of the general election to the 34th Dáil. We are ready to start the count, commencing with the opening of the ballot boxes and separating and counting papers in each box in order to verify the ballot account for the poll. Before we commence, I wish to draw your attention to our fire safety procedure, which you will have seen on the doors on the way into the count centre. In the unlikely event of an emergency, the public should exit via the main door through which you entered and the 2 emergency exit doors located at the opposite sides of the hall, to my right and to my left. In the event of a mass evacuation, the fire assembly points are located in the main public car park. These assembly points are clearly marked as point 5 and point 6. No one is to re-enter the building once the fire alarm has sounded unless given instruction from the fire department or a senior member of SETU facilities staff. We also have paramedics in the hall in the event that anybody becomes unwell, and this should be brought to the attention of one of the election staff. This is a fully ticketed event. If you leave the count centre, you will be given a ticket for re-entry. If you do not have a ticket, you will not be allowed to re-enter the count centre. Please adhere to the directions of the election staff. Anyone who does not do so will be asked to leave.
Okay, we have heard from Michelle there now, and the boxes are just about to be opened. You may be watching this on repeat
and finally,
later on in the evening.
Staff to begin to open the boxes starting number 1 to 35 and declare the count officially open.
Okay, again, the magic moment when the boxes are literally opened. As you see, they've all been sealed. Their seal is cut, and the boxes will be put onto the table, and the ballots would literally tumble out of the boxes. They make sure that no ballots obviously fall over the edge. As you can see, some excellent shots there from Eddie in terms of making sure the ballots stay on the table. Looks a bit archaic in some respects, literally bundling them out, but it's a system that has worked for over a century and works very well. As you can see then, they're not counting the ballots at the minute. What they are doing is they're sorting the ballots. So they're putting the ballots out facing the tally men and women, okay? Facing the tally men and women. They're literally opening up the ballots, flattening them out, and showing how the ballots work. What's going to happen now in the next few minutes is there's going to be a lot of quietness here. It was very noisy just before 9 o'clock, but it's going to get a lot quieter. There will be a hush descending on the count centre and on every count centre across the country, as people, as I say, hunt their prey, and the prey is information. So tally men and women, an extraordinary system when you think about it. They're literally going to be able to look close up at how everybody voted in every constituency in this country. It's a system that's fully allowed. There's nothing wrong with it. None of the ballots, obviously, give out any information regarding individuals. So the secrecy of the electoral system continues. I'm just going to move these bottles of water there for the minute. And let's just stand in here beside Christina and we'll show you how the ballots work, how the tally system works. So we'll just focus there on that. And you can hear Christina is going to call out the names of who is first and second. Which box is this Tramore, lads? Lady of Mercy. Okay, this is our Lady of Mercy. So just watch this.
Cullinan. 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 Cummins. Cullinan. Cullinan. Cummins. Curtin. Butler. Cummins. Shanahan. Roach. Butler.
So we'll just move in behind Christina's compatriot here and we'll show you the sheet as it's been filled out. So as you can see, there is a tick going beside each person when a number one vote comes in. And from this box we are seeing David Cullinan doing very well. This is Our Lady of Mercy, box number 3, Waterford City. So this has been replicated across the constituency and in every constituency in the country. And you can see all the staff assigned to the count. They are carefully unfolding all the ballots. Most of the ballots have been creased, if you want to call it, or folded over. So they literally open up the ballot and they are showing it and laying it out facing the tally people, and those tally people are literally writing down the number ones. So these are number one tallies. As I say, it's an amazing system, a really amazing system, how it works. So if we're looking at 120, 130, 140, maybe 200 votes in each box, once the votes from all those from that box, once those votes are all laid out, that tally of that particular area will be complete. So again, this is the crucial part of what's happening. Now, and the next 2 hours, as these votes are sorted and as these votes are tallied, the information that party workers can get from this process is phenomenal. Phenomenal. So they'll literally be able to know in a parish who is doing well. They might even, it doesn't break down by street, the sanctity and the privacy of the vote is still confirmed. So there's no messing around with finding out about how people voted. It's done area by area, box by box, and that's very important because our electoral system values very highly the privacy of the vote, and this process in no way diminishes that. So it's a very good system. It works really well. It's amazing, as I say, how party workers for the next few months will examine all these tallies, and they literally will form the basis of maybe how they canvass for the next general election. They'll look and see where they've done well in particular areas. They'll also then be able to see how people can do better, who did relatively well, who could have done better, and all those type of things. As we know from the exit poll last night, that was commissioned by RTE and the Irish Times, the three main parties are neck and neck in terms of the overall first preference exit poll of more than 5,000 people. That doesn't give us an indication constituency by constituency, but it does give us an indication that in terms of first preferences, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and Sinn Féin will be very close. They had Sinn Féin just slightly ahead, 21.1%. They had a Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil on 19%. So we'll just come back here to the tallies, Eddie. And as you can see now, the piles are getting smaller. So all the ballots are continuing to be sorted. As you can see, the piles are getting smaller. So they're being all sorted into groups of maybe 10 or 20, and they're all being put together and put out. So we'll get a little bit more from this Our Lady of Mercy in terms of the number ones.
Butler. 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 Cullinan. Cummins. Cullinan. 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 Sorry, Cummins. Cummins.
Now we're going to do our very first interview with David Cullinan. David, you're live on elections.
Sky News, isn't it?
Waterford Television.
Very good.
Box has just been opened. It's a very exciting process.
It is, yes. So that's when we all become very humble, Damien, and we have to take what's in the boxes. But looking at what I'm seeing so far, there's strong support for me. Very strong transfers. I'm looking at the number 2s as well. Vast majority going to Conor McGuinness. I haven't seen the county boxes yet, so hopefully Conor can pick up strong first preferences. John Cummins doing reasonably well. Mary Butler not so much in Waterford City from what I can see so far.
And again, the big proviso, it's only the first 35 boxes we're only looking at, so it's
I think
very...
The trends that, normally early on you see when somebody is doing well. So far, I'm very pleased with what I'm seeing. And obviously, we have a long couple of hours to go before we get a clearer picture, Damien. So it would be unfair for me, at this point to be saying how it's going to pan out. I think we have to be fair to all candidates and wait until we have, maybe after the first hour and a half, reasonable tallies in. But it's looking good for Sinn Féin here anyway, that's for sure.
You staked a lot on you getting a bigger vote. Let's say, I don't know, you got 20,000 the last time. If you got 15,000 this time, and then that means exceeding the quota. We don't know what the quota is going to be, maybe 11,500, and then that surplus transferring to your running mate.
Wouldn't that be great?
Is that your plan?
No, the plan was actually for Conor to come in strong, because I did a lot of social media posts over the last 4 weeks of the campaign, calling on people in the mid-county, in Portlaw, Kilmacthomas, up in the west, to give their number 1 vote to Conor. We were out on the ground actually on Sunday at Kilmacthomas, and I was meeting people telling me they were voting for me, and I was telling them, if you can, give Conor the number 1 vote and give me the number 2 vote. So we tried our best. Obviously, as a sitting TD, Damien, you have an advantage, and there's people who will want to vote for a sitting TD. Incumbency is always big, but I'm hopeful from what I see, but I don't think we could call the seats anywhere near it at this point.
Absolutely. I was talking to you and other candidates earlier in the week. Would you say it's safe enough to say that Conor would probably need 6,500 first preferences to be in with a good shot?
Yeah, he'd need to be on, I'd say, probably 5,000 at a minimum. That's how I see it. I'm looking at some of the smaller parties, not doing as well maybe as some predicted. So some people were saying that might be in the mix for a seat. I'm not seeing them coming out in the city boxes as strong maybe as they should, given the national exit poll. I knew yesterday when I saw the exit poll that we would be a bit stronger in Waterford. We have been, if you look at the last local elections, we doubled what the party vote was. In the last general election, we got 38%. On the back of a 24%. I actually think the exit poll will have understated Sinn Féin support again. I can just see from the boxes coming out. There's a lot of votes for me, so obviously I'm happy when I see that, but obviously I want Conor to be elected as well, Damien.
In terms of that exit poll, you think that the exit poll may well be understating Sinn Féin's national percentage?
Yeah, I think so. It did the last time by a couple of percent, 2.5% I think, but from what I'm seeing in the boxes, as I say, it's still early. Like as you said, there's a lot of boxes yet to be opened. And there's always, you have to look at the geographical spread as well.
Okay, I'll let you go because we've got the first completed tallies in. Okay, gentlemen, let's just take a quick picture of these tallies and then I will go through them. That's lovely. Perfect. Kieran, you've got the other ones there, yeah? Perfect. I'll let Kieran and Kyle work on the other ones. There's Kieran and Kyle from our team. They're going to be putting all the information together and getting all the tallies as they happen. So as we say, the very first box has come out, and I'm going to go through this, and Eddie can focus on the people that are still tallying, and there'll be more tallies coming up in a minute. So the first tally that I have is Ferrybank National School, booth 1, and from that I have Butler 24, Aintu Cleary 6, Cullinan 25, Cummins 16, people before 2, McGuinness 2, none for Joyce and Mangan, O'Cohesick 3, O'Neill Independent none, Conway, we had Conway earlier, none from that box, and Shanahan is at 8. So that's the very first tally, and that is from Ferrybank National School, booth 1. So again, it just shows the information, how detailed we can get. So for example, in that particular box, 24 people voted for Mary Butler. So it just shows how important the tally is and how the process works and how it's able to delve down into a particular area. We're going to get more tallies in a minute from different areas. I'm just going to go and have a look here. And we are looking at Our Lady of Mercy, box 2. And the numbers will be collated there in a minute in terms of all that information. And over here, I'm looking at Our Lady of Mercy, National School, box 10. And I think that's a complete tally, is it? Half a box, okay. Get a quick picture of this. So with that, we have Butler in that particular box. So that's a half a box. That's Our Lady of Mercy, box number 10, half a box. So for example, in that, Mary Butler has got 15 votes. Cleary, Aintu 4. Conway 1. Cullinan 68. Cummins 24. Curtin 1 vote. McGuinness 1 vote. Joyce no votes. Mangan 3 votes. O'Cohasig 2 votes. O'Neill none. Sive O'Neill 5. Roach 10. Shanahan 12. Walsh Irish People Party 1. Spoil votes none. So there's an example. For example, in that particular box you have Mary Roach got 10 votes out of that box and Shanahan got 10. Got 12, okay? Again, that's only a half a box. So every particular box will have its own, I suppose, dynamic. You're also going to have specifics in relation to... You give them it there. And the tallies are now coming in to beat the band. So Eddie is going to focus on the lads over here, and they're taking photographs of the tally sheets. And they are going to be fed onto our system, and we're going to go through them now in a few minutes. So again, this is priceless information. It's not secret information. All the tally men and women have that information, and they're able to look at all of this. So those tally sheets are going to be brought in a minute to one of the other rooms. They're all going to be combined and put together in a combination tally. So as Eddie walks down this area, and we'll get some wide shots as well, I'm going to go through a few more as we walk and talk. So I'm going to talk about Gaelscoil, Philip Baroon, and in that Mary Butler 16 votes, Cleary 5 votes, Conway 3 votes, Cullinan 91 votes, Cummins 11, Curtin People for Profit 2, McGuinness Sinn Féin 9, Mangan Independent 7, Sive O'Neill Labour 4, Roach 5, Shanahan 18. So there's a very important thing that may well develop over the next while. And again, we'll just have to wait and see. But Gaelscoil Philip Baroon is in Tramore. And Sinn Féin, this could be crucial as the day pans out, okay? Sinn Féin are looking to get 2 people elected in this constituency. They're the only party that can get 2 elected. With that, David Cullinan, obviously his strongest area would be the city. We have a Conor McGuinness for Sinn Féin, strongest area, Dungarvan and the West. Tramore, in my opinion, is where this election is going to be won or lost. Sinn Féin made a decision that David Cullinane was going to go to Tramore and basically work Tramore, as they call it. Now, this is a very tricky, interesting, but, risky thing, but it might well work for them. So with that, if David Cullinane is able to get 15,000 votes, let's say 9 or 10,000 in the city and another 4 or 5,000 in Tramore, he's hoping that 3 or 4,000 of his surplus, if he does get something like that, will transfer back to Conor McGuinness. So instead of getting Conor McGuinness to be the primary vote getter for Sinn Féin in the Tramore area, Sinn Féin made a decision that they were going to let David Cullinane do that, get as many number twos for Conor from that. So instead of, let's say, having both of them on around 9,000 first preferences, if that's what they were hoping for, their tactic at the minute is for David to exceed the quota, by how many we don't know, for Conor to get at least 5,000-6,000 first preferences, and then for the surplus from David to transfer back. Now, if that doesn't work, if that strategy doesn't work, then Sinn Féin are going to find it difficult to get a second seat. If that works, and works really well, that could blow everybody else out of the water in terms of that last seat. But we just don't know. There's so many imponderables. We've got a man here who knows an awful lot about it. Sean, what have we got here? What's this box?
It's Holy Cross Tramore, booth 1, and it's half a box. It's box number 23, and John Cummins had 39, David Cullinane 26, Mary Butler 24, and then the next was Marco Kozik with 11. Sorry, Matt Shannon at 17, but that's with 146 votes in half a box.
Far too early to say. We're
Yes.
just explaining to the people how the tally system works. It's a brilliant system, isn't it?
It's a great system. We're looking at it as they're taking them out of the box, and
Isn't it unique? Isn't it amazing? Like, for those like yourself who are so au fait with all this, it's normal. But for those that are watching this for the first time, anywhere in the world,
educational.
isn't it?
It is indeed, yes, yeah. I mean,
And unique to the Irish system.
totally unique to the Irish system. You watch the UK general election, you watch the American presidential election, and so on. But this is unique. I think some of the others could pick up from us.
I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks very much, David.
Too early, far too early. Any thoughts? What's your overall thoughts?
I think there's 5 going for 4 seats, probably 4 going for 3. If you take David Cullinane out of it, there's probably 4 going for 3 seats.
Do you think Cullinane will top the poll?
I think he'll top the poll, and I think you'll have John Cummins, Mary Butler, Conor McGuinness and Matt Shanahan, those 4 fighting for the other 3 seats.
We've a lot of other votes then from other parties and other individuals. If they go out and if transfers go in a certain way?
It's all on transfers, and we don't have an idea of transfers yet. As I say, we've looked at the first half box, but that would be my indication at the moment, that it's David Cullinane to head the poll and the other 4 going for 3 seats.
Do you think Sinn Féin's strategy might work?
It depends on how the operator on the doorsteps, where they call it for 1-2s. I couldn't call on that.
I'll let you get back into it. Sean, thank you very much. So we've got another box here now. Niamh O'Donovan, councillor for Fine Gael, is tallying one of the boxes, and this is Holy Cross in Tramore. And as you can see from that, Mary Butler has got 35 votes, Cleary Aintu 10, Conway Independent 3, Cullinane 76, Cummins 35, and then down the line, and Mary Roach and Matt Shanahan have got the next tranche. Mary Roach on 48 and Shanahan on 74. So Shanahan has done very well in that Holy Cross box, Tramore number 1. Over here then we have another Holy Cross box. This is Holy Cross National School. I won't go through them all, but just the main ones. Butler 30, Cullinane 79, Cummins 50, O'Cossack 16, O'Neill Labour 12, Roach, Social Democrat 23, Shanahan 28. Thanks very much, Mark. So again, very specific breakdowns for those tallies. Let's walk a little bit more around the corner here and we'll get some more faces from people that are doing the counting and people that are tallying. Again, people being very quiet about this and they're making sure they don't miss anything. And the pink stickers on people are those that are doing the tallying. We will be bringing you a lot more tallying and tally sheets as they happen. We'll just look at this particular sheet here. That's Holy Cross, another Holy Cross box. And the trend we're seeing there is David Cullinan doing very well. We'll just walk down to this side now. And I might let Eddie take a break for a second. If Dean wants to go to a wide shot, Eddie can take a break there and just relax. We've got our Order of Malta lads there as well, keeping an eye on things. How are you, lads? So, we also have a lot of journalists here, a lot of them upstairs in a room beside our studio. And we will be going to our studio in a little while and showing you exactly what is happening. As I said, this may be repeated later on this afternoon in terms of this broadcast. So if you're watching this broadcast later in the afternoon, what you are watching is the very first time any media organisation has gone live from the start of a count and showed you exactly how people are voting in each particular polling station, and even more than that, each particular ballot box. So we're going to be getting all the information and putting all these together. Our team, which includes Kyle and Kieran and Jennifer, will be using and putting all that information together. So as Dean is focusing on the wide shots, I'm just going to go through a few more figures. We've got Butlerstown, Mary Butler 16. We have John Cummins 26, David Cullinan 22. Then we have Holy Cross, another Holy Cross box, Butler 22, Cullinan 34, Shanahan 25. Then we have Tramore Coast Guard. Okay, so that's the polling station that was at the Tramore Coast Guard. And we have Butler 30, Cleary 10, Cullinan 21, Cummins 41, Shanahan 24, and there were 149 votes tallied, and that is a half a box. So again, what they do is they may tally half the box and then they'll move on and tally the next half of it. So I won't be going through each particular tally at the minute. We're going to collate them in a little while and put them all together and get some information. And we will be up in the studio in a little while going through all of this. Gaelscoil Fulop Baroon, number 21. Again, I'm giving you the main ones in terms of the amount of votes that are in each box. David Cullinan got 44 in that. Butler 17. We had Cummins on 30 and we had Shanahan on 22. So again, there is a health warning with all these tallies that they are only the first 35 boxes that have been opened. The first 35, half of those are in the Tramore area. The Fenner box has been opened. I haven't seen the Fenner tally yet. And we are looking at a few other different areas, including Butlerstown and Farron Shaneen, I think, is going to be opening up shortly. So we'll just walk down this area and we'll see if we can get a few more indications of where people are at. So Terry Hayes, my old friend from Passage East. How are you, Terry?
Nice to see you.
Terry's one of the chief tally men here. What have you got here in front of me?
I have the tally from the Glornamara Booth 1.
Glornamara Booth
Tramore.
1. Tramore, okay.
And it's shown up at the moment as there's shown up at David Cullinan coming in there with 66 votes. John Cummins on 30. And ironically, Mary Butler Fianna Fáil on 30 as well. So it's a close one there. Independent, Matt Shanahan is shown in there at 28.
So again, that's a good indication of the spread between those four people, isn't it? Butler 30, Cullinan 66, Cummins 30, Shanahan 28, and Mary Roach 21.
Yeah, I've seen a few tallies already, and that seems to be the trend from what I can see across this side of the tally centre, that they're the top 4 or 5 performers at the moment, yeah.
Are you seeing anything at the minute? It's too early to say, far too early.
It's too early to say, but I suppose in the boxes that I've seen along here, those 4 or 5 candidates have been the ones with the top votes.
Okay. And again, Conor McGuinness isn't showing yet in a lot of these because Dungarvan, West Waterford boxes haven't yet really been opened.
Yeah, the ones that I've seen around here have been quite a few from Glore-Namara, and ones like St. John of God in the city. So there will be strong John Cummins area probably, and Matt Shanahan as well, those ones, you know.
And interested to see Mary Roach tallying fairly well in some of those boxes.
She is, yeah. I scan them when I get them, and she's featuring them all, like, you know, up to now.
That could come into play as the day proceeds. We just don't know.
Yeah, I suppose when it gets into that 3rd, 4th seeds, all of those people that are sitting 5th, 6th and 7th, yeah, where those transfers go is going to put someone back up the table, you know.
I'll let you go to the tally centre with all this. Just on this process, how amazing a system is this?
I think it's the best system, because ultimately every vote you have or every number that you put on that form, it's alive. You know, it's a fantastic opportunity to have to use your franchise, and a lot of countries don't have that. So I think for people to vote and exercise that vote, regardless of party affiliation or whatever your belief is, I think you should exercise that.
The passage box is not open yet.
Not yet. I'll be looking around for that.
2 boxes in Passage East, and Terry, you'll be looking for that. Terry,
for 1 and 2. Thanks, Damien.
Thank you very much. All the best. Eddie, we'll move on down here. As you say, more boxes now being opened, and there are more tallies going ahead. There is Joanne, a number of councillors then from different parties helping out with different tallies. And we'll just have a look down here and see which boxes are in here. So this box being tallied now in front of us is Modeligo. That's Modeligo that's been tallied. And we're looking at quite a number of votes for Mary Butler, David Cullinan, Cummins, O'Neill for Labour, Shanahan Independent. So again, these are very early days, very, very early days, and we'll see how things develop. I'll walk Eddie down here to a man who knows a fair bit about tallies, a certain Maurice Cummins. How are you, Maurice?
Very good, Damien. Yourself?
Good. You're live on all the different channels.
Very good.
Just on the tally system, for people that don't know it, isn't it amazing?
It is amazing, and actually I must say this has been one of the best systems that I've seen so far, because we're usually looking over the shoulders of the people that are counting, but this time, in fairness to the returning officer, she has them facing out the way, so it's a lot easier for the tally people there to actually see the votes. We're trying to keep up, of course, with the counters. They're so good, they're flying, so they are there.
And that simple change, where Michelle, our returning officer, and if Eddie wants to focus over there, we've got all the council officials and the court people, and there's Michelle in the white blouse and the green suit, and she is the returning officer, the person in charge, effectively, of this entire count. So she said to all the counters, do you know what? Put the ballot papers facing
out the way, and it helps a lot, and it doesn't deny the counters as much as well, because people were previously we'd be looking over person's shoulder trying to see where the number 1 is, and you're asking people to stop, could you hold, I missed that one. But this way it is a lot easier. The actual paper is out in front of you and you can see the number 1 there, so it makes it a lot easier for the tally people.
It's the first time in a long while that Fine Gael are only running one candidate in the constituency, your son John.
That's right.
Obviously. I understand you did a really, really good campaign. You were very happy with what you did, and the unity within the party. It's something that I haven't seen, and I'm here 30 years in this area, Maurice. It's something I haven't seen.
I think you're right. I think that captured it. We had about 80 people out canvassing practically every night, divided among the county and the city. And there was total unity there. All the councillors got totally behind the candidate. And I think it will pay off in the end, because that type of unity, as you said, we've had battles in the past in various factions. They are going back a long way. But there's total unity in the Fine Gael camp now, which we haven't seen for over 40, 50 years, I'd say.
And that was reflected in very strong votes for councillors and candidates in the local elections. So you had the likes of Liam Brazel and Shawnee Power and Damien Gagan. Do you think all those votes will stay within the party?
Oh, certainly not all of them will stay within the party, because a lot of those will be personal votes as well. But on the other side, I think John will probably get personal votes as well outside of that. So in the local elections, we polled about 13,000. If we can poll around 10, I'll be a very happy man, so I will, Damien.
Your hope is that John would be polling around 10,000 first preferences.
Well, that'd be my hope, but that's everyone's hope, so it is at this stage, you know. But a few boxes that I'm after seeing so far now in Donegal and Water Park and part of Tramore have been very encouraging, I must say. But we haven't, that's only a snapshot, as they say, in the few boxes that are around here. I haven't seen, there's 35 boxes after being opened. I've seen the numbers on 3 of them. So that's a small reflection, a very small reflection.
Finally and briefly, if you don't mind, Morris, how do you think it's going to go? What's your feeling based on the exit poll, based on Sinn Féin's strategy of kind of giving Tramore to David Cullinan?
I honestly don't know. I can't make out. I'm looking at David Cullinan getting 20,000 votes the last time. What are they going to get this time? Put him 16, 17,000 for Sinn Féin. What way will they break then? You know, that's the unknown.
And it is going to be very tight. I said it earlier in the week. I can't call it, that last 2 or 3 seats, but certainly, the last seat. Because we just don't know. Are people in the West going to stay West?
I don't know. I
Where's
haven't seen
Tramore
any of the boxes. I'm only going on canvas and all that. My thoughts would be that it could be Shanahan and McGuinness, that it could be fighting for the last seat. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. If you look at Labour, the Greens and Social Democrats, there's about 9,000 probably between those, and if they transferred well together, one of them, whoever is on top, could be in the hunt.
Do you think Mary Roach could be a dark horse in this?
She could. It depends on who's. Is she going to be ahead of Marco Kosick or the Labour candidate as well? That's intriguing. I think that they'll be all around the 3.5 probably, but I could be way out.
You still love days like this?
Oh, sure I do. I love it. If they had legs now that could carry me a bit better now, I'd be all right. The canvassing I did about 2 or 3 nights a week. I had to put the leg up for the other 2 or 3 nights. So I got there at the end anyway, thankfully.
And how proud would you be if your young lad is elected?
It would be wonderful to see him elected. So it would do what I didn't do myself, so he would there all right. Although I got on all right in the other house. But certainly, it would be a wonderful achievement there, and it would be a great achievement for all the workers within the party there that were very determined from the last time, and everybody knuckled down and said we had to get this seat back, and I hope they'll be right. You know, they put the work into it, and that's the main thing, and I think the work will pay off.
Morris Cummins, thank you very much. The very best of luck. God bless. Thank you very much. For people that don't know as well, I was listening on the radio earlier on this morning. It is 1 year today. 1 year today since a certain Irish rock star died. Try and think who it is, and we'll give you the information on that in a minute. We'll talk to Lauren here for a second. Hello, Lauren.
Hello.
Lauren, what have you got here for us?
I have half a box from Mount Sion School in Waterford City, where David Cullinan has come out on top.
62 votes for Cullinan.
And then behind David we have John Cummins on 13.
So Cullinan has cleaned up of 112 votes in that Mount Sion one of those boxes. 62,
and
so half of the votes, 50%.
50% of the votes tallied in that box.
Next one.
We go to Sculver and Abbeyside.
Abbeyside, so this is the first Abbeyside box that we are reporting on this morning.
So we have Mary Butler of Finnafall coming out with 62 first preference votes, followed by Conor McGuinness with 42, followed by John Cummins with 37. So,
okay, so Mary Butler's done very well there on that.
Mary quite ahead there.
Now, McGuinness in Abbeyside has got 42 votes. That would be an area he would be hoping to do an awful lot better in, maybe, but again, big opposition with Mary Butler, who's done a lot of work in West Waterford.
Sure. Yeah, you have to remember it's half a box
I know.
of one box. But yeah, you would have thought that Conor McGuinness probably would have hoped to have higher first preferences there, I think. Mary has run a good office there for a long number of years as well, so maybe it's her support coming out to acknowledge the work she has done there in the area. So
just on this,
yeah.
what do you think of the whole tally process?
I love it. I love it. I'm working in politics now 15 years, and every year it gets better. I was like a child at Christmas last night going to bed. It's a great day. I think for anyone who, whether you're connected to a candidate or you're a political observer or you have any interest in politics, it's a fantastic display of democracy in action. Like you couldn't but be interested, I think. And so far so good here in Waterford. They're running a great operation this morning. We seem to be moving through the boxes at a fairly rapid pace, I have to say. Yeah. It's a great day.
Hoping your man John Cummins will get elected?
I am, of course, Damien. But look, John, myself and Brandon have worked really hard over the last 5 years, and I think, I hope, the people will recognise the work that we've done for the people of Waterford. Yeah, so hopefully it'll be a good day for us, but it's far too early in the day to say anything.
I'll let you go. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on. We're going to head back over to the screens, and we're going to take a wide shot and let Eddie relax with his camera work for a minute. And there's a nice wide shot. Okay, we're going to have a look at some of the screens here and display some of the tally sheet. And you can take up or pull up the first one there if you want. Eddie, you can relax there for a minute. Eddie's doing some great work. So, as you know, we are looking at all these tally sheets, and we're going to try and get as much information as possible. And Kyle and Kieran and Jennifer are putting all those together. Now, I've got one there, Waterford, can't read the top of that, but let's just mention it that, that's Fenner on the left. Okay, we've got Fenner on the left, so now you're looking at the Fenner tally. That was only a half box, and Mary Butler 17, Cullinan 25, Cummins 21, and Shannon 16 is what I can see, and I think I see Mary Roach at around 12 there. The one beside that, we've got another one. We've got Mercy here on the left, and we've mentioned the Mercy one earlier, so that is 67 votes for David Cullinan. He's completely clearing up in that particular box. Then we have Our Lady of Mercy School, another one, and that is 66 first preferences for David Cullinan, Mary Butler 11, and everybody else, I suppose, down a bit further. So Dean is in the studio and he's flicking through these, and all these tallies, again, fully transparent, a great system, and it basically shows all the information from different areas. We have Our Lady of Mercy, we've number 2, and again David Cullinan 36 on one side. I can't see the other, but he does the same nearly in the other, and John Cummins doing very well in both of those boxes as well. And there we have Butlerstown. So for example, Butlerstown, we have Butler, Mary Butler 16, Cullinan 22, Cummins 26, McGuinness 5, and Shanahan 43. So in the Butlerstown area, and this is box number 3, and they call it the right half of the box. Shanahan's done very well there. The left half, the box, we have Shanahan doing very well again on 53. We have then Cullinan, Cummins and Mary Butler on 20, 22 and 20. So they're very even on that. Again, I'm not going through all the different machinations of this because a lot of the other candidates have smaller numbers within each box. We've got the left half of another box there, and that was Butlerstown, and we've seen in this particular box Jane tallied this. We have Cummins on 53 votes from that box, Cullinan 34, Shanahan 24. And another box there, I might ask Dean what that particular box is. And as we know, all those tallies coming together. Now we have the Gaelskull. I think this my Gaelskull Philip Baroon. Would that be right, Dean? And in that then we have Cullinan 44. We have Shanahan 22, Cummins 30 and Butler 17. We've got another one coming here now. Dean might be able to tell me which one this is. Glornamara, we have Cummins 37, Shanahan 23, Cullinan 17. Ferrybank, booth or box number 2, a half box, and there were 100 votes, 98 votes to be exact, tallied in this. Cullinan has exactly half of them, 48, well, nearly exactly. I didn't get an honour in honours maths, but he has cleaned up in that particular box. And Mary Butler 6. Now another half box from Ferrybank, Cullinan on 53, Butler on 13, Shanahan on 9, and 111 votes in that box have been tallied. We've got Water Park National School, box number 34. So of Water Park, we have, can't see at the bottom how many, but let's say Cummins 60 and Shanahan 57, Cullinan 53, Butler 44. So that's a good indication. Water Park National School, full box, Shanahan and Cummins neck and neck from that box. 60 from Cummins and 57 from Shanahan. We've got Tramore Coast Guard, the right half, box number 22. From that we have Cummins way out in the lead in that box, 55, Butler 29, Shanahan 27 and Roach 15. And these tallies, people are very interested to see how they're all going. Again, we'll get as many of them as possible to come together. That's 170 from that box. We've got Gaelskull Tramore booth 2. Cullinan, of that, he is looking at getting 81 first preferences. We are looking at Butler 25, Cummins 29, and interesting Roach and Shanahan 14 votes each from that. Now we have Tramore Gaelskull, and we have Cullinan on 60, Cummins on 22, Butler on 12, Shanahan on 10, and O'Cohesig only 6. So an area that Mark O'Cohesig would have done very well in the last while. It's safe to say Mark O'Cohesig is not featuring in these tallies. We've got St. Joseph's, Parnell Street, box number 63. So we're now into the second tranche of boxes, and of that, Cullinan 39 votes, way out ahead of everybody else. That's only a half box. So Cullinan, more than half of the votes, first preferences, tallied in St. Joseph's, Parnell Street, box number 63, and that is a half box. I'm going to go and talk to Kyle in a second. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll come back in a minute and we're going to go to a break and we're just going to leave it on a wide shot. We'll come back with more information in a little while. Stay with us, back in the next 5 minutes.
race between the three largest parties in the country. Sinn Féin, Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil are all within 1.6 percentage points of each other. Boxes are now opening and we can cross live to our WLR News and Current Affairs team on the Cork Road at SETU. Kieran Foley is there, and Kieran, there are some interesting early indications but a long way to go.
Yes, a very good morning, Jordan. Lots of activity here at the Count Centre within the past hour. And of course, all of the focus has been on the tallies. The tally men and women have been working very diligently to compile all of their figures. And I can bring the latest tally figures to you. So we're looking in alphabetical order. Mary Butler, Fianna Fáil, she's at 14.1%. Ronan Cleary, Ain2, 3.3%. Frank Conway, Independent, 0.9%. David Cullinan, Sinn Féin, 28.2%. John Cummins, Fine Gael, 18.9%. Patrick Curtin, People Before Profit, 1.3%. Conor McGuinness, Sinn Féin, 5%. Aaron Joyce, Independent, 0.3%. Killian Mangan, Independent, 1.9%. Mark O'Cahasig, Green Party, 4%. Mark O'Neill, Independent, 0.3%. Sive O'Neill, Labour, 2.9%. Mary Roach, Social Democrats, 6.9%. Matt Shanahan, Independent, 11.1%. And John D. Walsh of the Irish People, 0.8%. So certainly looking very good for David Cullinan of Sinn Féin, as I mentioned, out in front at 28.2%. And joining me now to discuss this is a member of David's campaign team, Councillor John Hearn. John, what's your reaction to these figures which we're seeing this morning?
Well, we were hoping that we think David's basically he will be elected, no problem. So the big contest we see is for the last seat. We believe it's between Matt Shannon and Conor McGuinness. So that's where we think that the last fight would be. We think Butler and Cummins are transferring well to each other. We see that all down the line. And the same with Sinn Féin, David to Conor and vice versa, are transferring very well to each other. But just I was looking at some of the tomorrow boxes and there wasn't a great vote for the Green Party. We figured he's definitely in trouble, we think, the Green Party. And it's all to play for really in the transfers then for the last seat, I think. That's what it'll come down to.
And then looking at some of the boxes where David Cullinan was polling exceptionally well, some huge results within the city, John.
Yeah, we got 90% in St. Paul's, my own area. I'll certainly take credit for that because no one's going to give me credit for it. But so I think that's a fantastic. We got 86% in the last election. That's just, you wouldn't get that on the Falls Road. That's just phenomenal. So if we can keep getting that and try and get the transfers into Conor, and hopefully Conor was doing very well in some of them Dungarvan boxes. So we're hopeful to get the two in, and if we did, that would be monumental. But it's all to play for, It's when the transfers come in and the rest of the tallies, it could all change.
Certainly is, and of course we'll be monitoring all of the additional tallies as they come in. So for the moment, from the Count Centre here at SETU, it's back to you in studio, Jordan.
Thanks very much for that, Kieran. And of course, we'll have updates throughout the course of the day across all of our platforms and on air. Broadcaster and former Government Minister Ivan Yates says that the exit polls indicate that while Sinn Féin lost support compared to the last election, they have performed better than expected a few months ago.
Migration has cost them about 4 or 5%. But from where Sinn Féin were in June on 12%, this is definitely the prospect of being the largest party.
Waterford Sport with Auto Boland Alfa Romeo. Test drive the Alfa Romeo Junior. Learn
this morning, where Kilrossenty take on Russell Rovers of Cork this afternoon in the Munster Junior Club Hurling Championship final. The Green and Gold are into the final for the first time, having beaten Feenacle Meaty of Limerick and the Banner of Clare. Throw-in in Park Arenas at 1 o'clock, and their selector Maurice D says they won't be there just to make up the numbers.
We're not going up there for the crack, we're going to go up, and it's basically day for the lads. These days won't come along too often. We were in football finals in 86 and 88, once it's club football finals there. That's twice in 60 years. It doesn't come along often, and for the lads, it's a special day, but it's a day to enjoy as well. And look, we'll have a rattling. If we go, it's up to every pair to work his socks off for the hour.
And we'll have updates throughout on air thanks to Gavin Whelan. Modeligo, meanwhile, take on Knockanana of Wicklow in the All-Ireland Junior Club Camogie Championship semi-final this afternoon. It's a 1:30 throw-in Enniscorthy as the Munster champions face the Leinster champions. Modeligo selector Micheál Power says it's been an amazing year so far. They don't want it to end anytime soon.
Unbelievable year so far, and it keeps going. It's great, you know. Every day out now is a bonus, but look, when you're at this stage, you'd like to keep going and like to maybe drive on and win it if you can, and that's where we're focused on, to win it anyway. You know, it was a great year so far, and it'll be great in time to come. Great looking back on 2024 and all that's been achieved. It's been fantastic.
The annual Waterford AC Half Marathon is taking place this morning. The race is set off from the SETU Arena and over 2,760 runners have registered from all over Ireland. And in soccer, the FAI Junior Cup clash between Village United of Cork and Waterford Stramore, due to take place at 2 p.m. today, has been postponed due to an unplayable pitch. Sports news on WLR is with thanks to Otto Boland, and for all your Waterford general election news this weekend, you can keep up to date on air and across all our online platforms and on WLRFM.com.
Enjoy real savings this Christmas at SuperValue. Until
Okay, welcome back to our live broadcast. I'll just take off those headphones. A little bit of feedback, but the excitement here is palpable. It is a brilliant expression of democracy. It's one of the most extraordinary ways that a democratic system, I suppose, anywhere in the world is carried out. This may well be studied by students of politics across the world, maybe in Ireland as well, to explain how the system works. So if you're watching this on repeat, maybe in the afternoon or later on in the evening, what we've been doing since 9 o'clock, we have been following the tally. So they are the votes as they come out of the boxes, they're put on the table, they're sorted in the sense that they're unfolded and people can see number 1s, 2s, 3s or whatever. Tally men and women have been working in pairs. One person calls out, Cullinan 1, Butler 1, as the votes go through. So you might have 100, 120, 140 votes in each box. They are then put on what's called a tally sheet. And I'm just going to get Eddie to show you a tally sheet. So we're looking here, and this lady here has a tally sheet. And that is St. Ursula's. St. Ursula's, is it? St. Ursula's Primary School. And in that, you can see the tally men and women basically mark one line for each vote. So on that, David Cullinan is cleaning up in that box. John Cummins has quite a few. Roach and Shanahan nearly the same, and Butler has a few as well. So that's happening all over the place. And here's another box that has just come out. So the counters that are working with the council and the courts, they literally open up the ballots. And as you can see, they're being opened up, and the returning officer here, Michelle, has done a very, very good job, and she has basically asked all the counters to open up the ballot papers facing the tally men and women. So it makes the tallying very easy, or a lot easier, because in other areas the ballots would be opened facing the counter. So you're kind of straining your neck and you're looking to see who's first, second, and you could miss a few. So these tallies may well give a very good indication of who's going to be coming out on top with first preferences. It's only the first preferences that are being tallied. There are a number of boxes that you will have people tallying number 2s as well, but that depends on the number of tally men and women that are around. And as I explained earlier, anybody working on the tallies in a specific team has a pink sticker on their back. You might wonder what the pink stickers are. So they're tally people, and once their box is finished, they will put up their hand, they'll wave their tally sheet up in the air, and they will do that. So let's have a look here. Hiya, how's it going? What do we have here?
This is St. Ursula's.
St. Ursula's Primary School, box number 84, and it's number 3 in St. Ursula's. And as you can see there, it's only a tally of first preferences, but David Cullinan way out in front in that box. 63, Cummins 30, Mary Roach 14, Mary Butler 11, Cleary Aintu 12. And again, the others, 1s and 2s. We're going to take a walk now, and Eddie can be filming as we go. We're going to take a walk around the Count Centre. As I say, you're being given exclusive access to a Count Centre in terms of looking at all the tallies. We're doing something that hasn't been done before. We're examining the tallies as they come out in conjunction with all the party workers, and they have been very good to us. And Eddie can focus on the people as we walk down. They've been very, very good to us. They've been giving us all the different numbers. They've been giving us all the different tally sheets, and they have been working together, which is absolutely brilliant as well. So they all work together as a team, and we have a very good team working here as well. So we're on a wide shot at the minute, and I'm going to walk down to the screen, one of these screens, and I have Kyle here in front of me. Now, Kyle, we're going to look at this screen as it happens. So we'll just let Eddie get his monopod in place and we can start talking. So Dean and Keane are upstairs and they have a split screen system in place. So what are we looking at here, Kyle?
So Damien, what we're looking at here are the tally sheets, and tallies are an early indicator as to what way the vote is going. Of course, they do come with a health warning, so they are just indicators, but they give us a good idea as to how the day is going to pan out. So if you look at the top here on the left side of your screens, you can see St. John of God's National School, and that's in the city. And different tally sheets are for different boxes in different areas of Waterford City and County. So
that's box number 35, and that's a half box. So what are the figures in this box?
So what we can see here is, well, it's actually gone off our screen now, but what you could see is certain people doing very well in certain areas. Thanks very much, Dean. So we can see here John Cummins, right, is on 43, so he's doing very well in that area, followed then by Matt Shanahan,
independent 35.
Right. So for example, Damien, in the west of the county, you might see Conor McGuinness doing very well in different areas. So we can also see here then David Cullinan also on 22, tied with Mary Butler, and then also by Marco Kohasic. So
okay, so from that we can garner that a number of people are doing well in certain boxes. So the tallies, when they're put together, and all these tally sheets are being brought to another room 136 steps away where they have a combined tally. So all those figures are being fed into a computer.
That's right, and I actually have that right here. So if you have a look here on my screen, so this is the combined tally, and it's actually a great way for all the parties to come together, and all the parties come together and feed it into one big system. So if you have a look at the combined tally here,
just read them out there. Yeah, we'll get it up on the screen later, but just give us a quick analysis. I'm just going to refresh
your screen here, just because it refreshes every few minutes. So in the lead at the moment, we have David Cullinan on 27.8%, followed by John Cummins, and then John Cummins on 17.8%, then Mary Butler on 15.3%, and then we also have Matt Shanahan on 9.7. Now,
let's just explain this, because again, our listeners can't see this. 26% of the boxes tallied, okay? So we're looking at a quarter of the boxes have been tallied. A quarter of the boxes, the headline figures are Cullinan, nearly 29% of first preferences. Cummins, nearly 18% of first preferences. Butler, 15% of first preferences.
And then
Shanahan, nearly 10% of first preferences. And McGuinness, for example, is only on 8% of first preferences, but the Dungarvan boxes haven't really started opening yet.
And that's the thing, so like politics and like voting really comes down to...
It's up on the screen there now, well done, Dean.
Perfect, so it really comes down to geographical areas, so all this could change, Damien. This could all change come lunchtime.
It will change a little bit, like you're going to see McGuinness getting more votes in the west.
You will, and look, that's a natural thing. A geographical area, people seem to vote for who they know nearest to them. So as you can see here on our screen, if you might go down a little bit as well, Dean, if you could scroll down for us, if that's okay, we can see the bar and pie charts here, and this really is great technology, Damien, because we didn't have this years ago.
You like the old pie chart, don't you?
Oh, I do. I love a good pie, Damien. I don't know how you did it years ago. Like years ago, it was all just the sheets, and you'd have to feed it into your own system. But we have all this here.
So 28% of the boxes have now been opened. The party share of the vote go down slightly. Sinn Féin 36%, Fine Gael 17.5%, Fianna Fáil 15%, Social Democrats 6%, Independents non-party 13%, so that includes Matt Shanahan. So Social Democrats polling at around 6% at the minute, but again, that percentage of the overall vote may go down as the vote moves west, because the Social Democrats would not be as popular in the west, and Mary Roach wouldn't be as well known.
And that's right, and it comes down to transfers as well. So transfers are a whole other part of the election as well, so where votes actually go as well. So for example, you know, a lot of Connor's votes might go to David and vice versa as well, but time will tell, Damien, certainly will.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Do you love it?
Spending the whole day with you, what more could I ask for? It's brilliant.
Do you love this? We've got a great team here, and it's great to be part of it. And what we're doing here this morning, and if you're watching this in Australia this evening, or in the Vatican or Mauritius, wherever it is, it's going across the world, the technology and what we're doing here in showing democracy in action.
It really is, and I think it's important what we're doing here as well, because this is a part of history as well, and I think with the last general elections we couldn't do this because of COVID, obviously. So we're here, we're in, thanks to SETU as well, we're in the main campus here on the Cork Road, and it's just an exciting day, isn't it? It really is. Yeah.
Now the election was before COVID, so you were there. That's okay. That's okay. I know. I know the mind.
I was asleep then.
Kyle Butler, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. So we've got David Cullinan there. Let's get David back in. David, come here for a quick second. 25% of the boxes tallied.
Yes.
And you're looking at 27% first preference.
Yeah, and Conor McGuinness is very strong as well. So I think the Sinn Féin vote is very much holding up, Damien, on the last election. I'm just looking at Lismore boxes where Sinn Féin hit over 40% of the vote, which is phenomenal. So our councillor, Donncha Mulcahy up there, has obviously played a blinder for us. I did say that before the election, that electoral area was the key one for us, with the loss of a council seat for Fianna Fáil at the time. Conor McGuinness is romping home up there. I was matching John Cummins. So the Sinn Féin vote is just phenomenal. Dungarvan, Conor's doing very well right across the board. I haven't seen some of the mid-county ones, but from what I can see, we're in contention at least now for 2 seats.
If you pick up a few votes in every box, that's grand. Mary Butler and John Cummins are obviously doing very well in mid-boxes that I've seen.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see now what happens across the constituency.
At this stage,
we're hopeful that we'll ring with a shout for a second seat.
Well, that's what I was going to say. At this stage, it's now 20 past 10 on the morning time. Again, you might be watching this on a repeat later on in the evening. You believe that you're in contention for 2 seats?
Yes, I do.
And you don't do failure?
Well, hopefully not, Damien.
So yeah, good luck.
Take care.
Thank you very much. David Cullinan there, the sitting Sinn Féin TD. John Hearn, come in here for a quick second. John Hearn, you've been working for the party for many years. I know you've had your rows with the party as well.
You can have rows, all families have rows. That's always good, yeah.
What was your phrase? Eagles soar while turkeys gobble.
Yeah.
But you're back friends with everybody now.
Absolutely, you have to rise above everything and make sure the team works. If the team doesn't work, you might not be selected on the team every time, but I was sub on plenty of games, you know what I mean? So it's like, I was on Park Rangers, they never realised my talent.
Only 26% of boxes tallied so far. What's your thoughts?
We're quietly confident, but we're not, we never get above ourselves, and that's, you don't want to be disappointing yourself either. 90% of my own St. Paul's parish, that's bigger than the Falls Road could ever get, so that's a fantastic result. So there are
90%?
Over 90% in St. Paul's.
So Sinn Féin are tallying over 90% of first preferences in St. Paul's.
And you wouldn't get that on the Falls Road, so the Republican heartland is gone to our parish in Waterford. And just to keep the tradition, I got you another thing for your
free dairy. You're now entering free dairy. He's got us a fridge magnet. Okay.
For LR to keep it right.
John Hearn, I'd love to see you give David Cullinan a big hug later if you're all friends.
I'll be kissing David all night now tonight if we get this, and he'll be buying the drink, I can tell you that. Yeah.
Good luck, I'll let you go.
Thank
you very much. John Hearn there, who is a councillor here in Waterford and a Sinn Féin stalwart, you can say. I'm just going to let Eddie just pan around there for a second and just let you see who others around here. We've got some people there from RTE. There's Karen Creed, who is going to be reporting for RTE later in the programme. Brian Walsh there, the cameraman. They've got some reporters there, and that's the RTE setup up there. And they've got one camera, and they're going to be using that in terms of the situation. Dean, you want to talk to me? Okay, we're going to take a quick break now, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
your election station.
Good morning, Jordan Norris here at the WLR News Desk, and we can now cross live to our news and current affairs team on the Cork Road at SETU for the general election 2024 count. Roughly 30% of the boxes have been opened so far. Kieran Foley is there, and Kieran, while taken with a health warning, the tallies are painting quite an interesting picture so far.
Yes, thank you, Jordan. As you mentioned, around 30% of the boxes tallied, and the results so far are as follows. So we have Mary Butler, Fianna Fáil on 15.9%, Ronan Cleary, Aontú 3.3%, we have Frank Conway, Independent 0.9%, David Cullinan, Sinn Féin 26.4%, John Cummins, Fine Gael 18.1%, Patrick Curtin, People Before Profit 1.2%, Conor McGuinness, Sinn Féin 8.2%, Aaron Joyce, Independent 0.4%, Killian Mangan, Independent 1.6%, Mark O'Cosig, Green Party 3.7%, Mark O'Neill, Independent 0.2%, Sive O'Neill, Labour 2.9%, Mary Roach, Social Democrats 6%, Matt Shanahan, Independent 10.5%, and John D. Walsh of the Irish People 0.8%. So we heard from Councillor John Hearn at 10 o'clock discussing the very strong Sinn Féin vote here locally, and I'm now joined to discuss the Fianna Fáil vote by Fianna Fáil Councillor John O'Leary. John, what's your reaction to the vote for Mary Butler in the constituency?
Well, yeah, listen, she's at, as outlined there, Kieran, she's polling at around 15%, which is satisfactory at this stage. It's early days yet, but there is a pattern emerging, I suppose. Look, it's a 5-horse race for 4 positions, and look, it'll pan itself out during the day, but I'm quite happy with Mary Butler's performance so far, particularly in the city there. I was just looking at a box being tallied in the Sacred Heart area where she got around 13% of the vote. So I know that is heartening news for Deputy Butler at this stage.
And of course the overall picture then in terms of how it's shaping up, a very strong result for Sinn Féin by the looks of it locally.
Well, it's a strong result at the moment, like for Cullinan, I would say. But I don't think, from what I'm seeing from some of the tallies, that the transfer is going in the shape that they might like it. It's not every second preference that Conor McGuinness is getting either. But David Cullinan is certainly polling well. But it'll be interesting as the day progresses to see will there be better outcomes in relation to the 1 and 2 transfers between David Cullinan and
you mentioned the geographic vote then, Mary Butler doing well in the city. You say the county, has the vote held up well right across the county?
Well, it has held up as expected, but I think where we want to make the gains is probably in the city. We'll be expecting to make further gains in the Dungarvan, Lismore areas and that. But yes, at this stage we're quite happy, quite confident, and that it'll be, as I said at the outset, there'll be 5 main contenders for the 4 positions.
Okay, well, we certainly monitor it all very closely. So that's the very latest from the Count Centre here. Jordan, it's back to you in studio.
Thanks very much, Kieran. And for all your Waterford general election news this weekend, you can keep up to date on air across all of our online platforms and on WLRFM.com.
Thanks, Jordan. Absolutely fascinating seeing it all to come together. And as I said, you can actually watch it on social media platforms, and it's on YouTube as well, to see the behind the scenes that you mightn't normally see. It's absolutely brilliant, and fair play to all of the team who were involved in bringing that to you. Now,
Okay, welcome back to the SETU Hall here on the main campus. We're not out at the arena, it's a ticketed only event, so people, unfortunately, if you want to just come and have a look, you can't get in unless you have a ticket, and these tickets are given out to party workers, to different people involved. For example, the media. We'll be talking to more of those in a few minutes. But what we're doing here, we're live across Facebook, we're live on LinkedIn, we're live on TikTok, we're live on our YouTube channel, all courtesy of the great work that's been done by Dean and Keane. Keane is with the SETU audio-visual section. Brilliant, brilliant guys. They've put together an amazing studio upstairs, and we'll be going up to that in a minute. You've seen also Kieran there doing interviews in terms of radio, combining with television, so multi-platform. I want to thank also our owners, everybody involved within WLR and company, the Irish Times. Genuinely, this is amazing what's happening here, because even though you're not allowed in, we are bringing you inside the Count Centre. So, for example, we'll walk and talk, and we'll keep moving, and all the counting is being done, and these are all the tallies that are being done, and we've explained the tally system as it was up until the last few minutes, and we'll get one more shot of a tally here, and that is Mount Sion Primary. Well, and Mount Sion Primary, for example, we have David Cullinan 41 cleaning up there at the minute. The rest are all in the single figures. So that has been reflected in many different areas. We're now going to have a look, and Kyle and myself will be examining the overall tally at the minute. So we are looking at 33% of the boxes tallied. So very important, we've got 171 boxes, so 1/3 of the boxes tallied. Give me the percentages, please, Kyle.
Yeah, Damien, the morning is really moving on very quick. So what we're looking at here, we can see David Cullinan is at 27.6%, very high at the moment. Followed then, Damien, by John Cummins on 17.8%. Then Mary Butler, who I just got access to some of the tally sheets. The boxes were just opened in Portlaw. She's doing very well in Portlaw, and she is from Portlaw as well. To be expected. And then, Damien, we are also followed there by...
Mary Butler's on 15% in the overall tally at the minute.
Yeah.
Working down the line then, so Cullinan 27, Cummins 17, Butler 15. Then we've got Matt Shanahan
at 10.4%. And Damien, he's doing very well in the Dunmore Road, Ballygunner area. Looking at the tally sheets, he's very full on the sheets. And just to explain to some of our viewers who don't know what the tally sheets are, they're an indication as to the way the vote may go. Again, it's a health warning involved with that. Dean, if we might just go down there as well, just scroll down a bit.
Just to let you know as well, as Dean is doing that, 7.8%. McGuinness is tallying 7.8%. At the minute. Now a lot of those, there's Connor. Connor, how are you going? Do you want to say a quick word? You're on the tally. He's on the tally. He's too busy.
He's too busy.
So he's on around 8% of first preferences at the minute. So combined, Sinn Féin could be looking at around 35% of first preferences in this constituency.
Certainly so. And look, again, it could be a first county to deliver a two-seater for Sinn Féin, possibly.
So looking at the pie chart.
So looking at the pie chart here, what we see here is Sinn Féin on 35 like you were saying, 0.47%, which is a big chunk of it, Damien. We're then followed by Fine Gael on 17%, of course, John Cummins.
They'll be happy with that. One candidate, 17% of first preferences, that should be okay for him.
Yeah, and look, I suppose his party are looking at the west of the county, because he did very much concentrate in the east, but he really has kind of pushed himself out west for this campaign. We are then followed by Mary Butler on Fianna Fáil. Now, I was looking at the tally sheets for Cappoquin and Tallow. She is a runaway there. She's doing very well up in the west of the county there as well, Damien.
And then, as we saw, Matt Shanahan around 10%. A noticeable thing within all this is the Green Party 3.5%. The Green Party vote has collapsed.
It's absolutely collapsed, Damien, unfortunately.
Social Democrats still on 6%, which is not bad whatsoever. Kyle, thank you very much.
Thank you, Damien.
We're going to move on down here now. We're going to talk to Kieran. Kieran, your take on all this as we are at the minute. We've got a third of the boxes tallied. What's your take?
Yes, it's very interesting, but obviously a very clear result again emerging in terms of David Cullinan. Huge support emerging for him, but the Fianna Fáil vote holding up very strongly. I was just speaking with Councillor John O'Leary, very happy with the vote and very happy with the Fianna Fáil vote in the city also, which is interesting. There had been a lot of speculation about would that vote hold up in the city. Then of course John Cummins, Fine Gael performing very strongly. Certain booths it's really neck and neck with himself and David Cullinan, but as we predicted, I suppose that fourth seat will certainly be up for grabs, and that's when the real excitement is going to start. At the moment, shaping up as Matt Shanahan positioned nicely, independent candidate, but of course when transfers and everything come into it, Conor McGuinness could be pushed up, so certainly all to play for.
A lot will depend on the transfers for that final seat. Shanahan would hope to pick up some. He's obviously transfer friendly, he believes. Mary Roach is not out of it yet. She's on around 6.4, 6.5% of first preferences. If the likes of Marco Kohasig goes out, talk to me about your take on the Green vote. The Greens managed to get around 7% first preferences the last time. Kohasig got 4,000 first preferences. They're looking at around 3.5% first preferences now. Just on the boxes tallied. Again, the health warning, it's only a third. That's a big collapse.
Yeah, huge, Damien, and it has to be seen as very disappointing for the Green Party. And even in areas where you would have suspected, even if the Green vote did fall in Waterford, there may be areas where Marco Kohasig might perform strongly. He's not as strong as maybe we would have predicted. Certainly very disappointing for them, and really positioning the Social Democrats as the, I suppose, biggest of the smaller parties, if you like, so maybe working to their advantage.
We might take a wide shot for a second there, Dean, and I'm wondering, Kieran might go down in a second and see if Sean Dower is down there to have a little chat with him with the camera, and I'll be back in a few minutes because Kieran's going to take over for a few minutes now, talk us through, I suppose, some of what's happening, and also then Kieran will be doing the news. We're going out on all different platforms, and we are also going to have our 11 o'clock bulletin as well. So if you want to take over there for a minute, Kieran, I'll talk to you in a minute. Okay, and we'll see if Fiona will talk to us down here. Here. See what tally he's doing there.
Yeah. So we have the. Do you have time to put that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so delighted to be joined by Fine Gael councillor Niamh O'Donovan, a newly elected councillor. I know, Niamh, you love the cut and thrust of the count centre as you're getting used to it now. What's your reaction to what's been happening here this morning?
Yeah, hi Kieran, how are you? Yeah, so this is my very first tally actually, so it's quite exciting. I think, look, the 4 seats that are available, I think we've got 5, possibly 6 front runners with when transfers come into play, but so far so good for our Fine Gael candidate John Cummins. Yeah, but I actually just want to, it's a busy day. I know the Medeligo box has been opened, but I just want to wish the Medeligo Camogie girls the very best luck in the All-Ireland semi-final today in Enniscorthy. So it's a great day for the parish.
So it's all happening today, busy day for Waterford, yeah. And of course, Niamh, you're positioned in the far west of the county, but how is the Fine Gael vote held up right across city and county? Is there any disparities?
I suppose I'm in the thick of it now here in the tally, and I've tallied 2 of the city boxes, and I suppose, look, Cullen and John Cummins seem to be doing very well. Mary Butler seems to be doing well. Matt Shanahan seems to be doing well. In regards to rural areas, I'm not sure yet, Kieran. I haven't really paid too much attention. I haven't had a minute.
But you're very happy overall as it's shaping up.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I think this is a really, really big day for Fine Gael in Waterford. We're all, I think, more pressured than ever because we really need to win this seat back for Fine Gael and to get a kind of a stronghold going again.
And of course, you were very busy canvassing. You were out and about with Senator John Cummins. What was the mood like in the areas where you were visiting?
Yeah, so I would have been doing obviously the Lismore local electoral area, but my dad, Vince O'Donovan, would have been all over the place. So he had a fair idea, give me the report back in the evenings, and it's been quite positive. I suppose, look, it's John has been working really, really hard. I think he's done a really hard canvass. His campaign, we all, I suppose, put the shoulder to the wheel and got stuck in. So it's been good. So hopefully now we'll get the result today.
Brilliant. Well, the very best of luck today, Niamh. Thank you very much. Yeah. Sean, we'll have a quick chat. Yeah. I'm now joined by Sean Dower, who's canvassing, who's tallying here. And Sean, what's your reaction, I suppose, particularly with the Fianna Fáil vote here locally?
I've been at the Cappoquin box and very happy with the Cappoquin box. Mary's vote is something around 16-17% in Cappoquin, so we're very happy with that, and we're still there or thereabouts. It looks like 5 fighting for four seats, or maybe 4 fighting for 3 seats if you take David Cullen out of it. But there's a long way to go. We're about 30% of the boxes tallied, I presume.
So is this in line with what you would have expected, maybe how you would have envisaged it playing out?
No, like a little bit more, but it's going well at the moment, and we'd have liked that everybody would like a little bit more out of the pie. But we're the way things are going at the moment, and it's a mixture of Tramore box, City box, West Waterford boxes. We're holding our own in all the boxes.
So you're getting a good geographic spread.
Spread. And in a number of the boxes that we've looked at, Mary's vote is a percentage vote is certainly more than it was in 2020 in those boxes.
And of course there was a lot of discussion about the exit poll which emerged last night. What was your own reaction to that?
I was surprised, but that was based on what we were listening to for the last 3 or 4 days. I was surprised. Obviously the 3 parties were going to be close enough at the top, but I think to be third was a surprise to me, particularly based on Micheál's 2 performances in the three-person debate, and then on his own interview then the following night. I was surprised that we were the third of the 3.
Well, certainly we'll monitor all developments. Sean, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you. Okay, so plenty of activity continuing here in the Count Centre. And as we heard there from Sean Dower, we are getting a good geographic picture of what's happening. Initially, of course, there were some boxes from specific areas being opened, but as more and more are opened, we're beginning to get a clearer picture. Because, of course, there are so many different factors which can alter the tally result. For example, we saw the Butlerstown boxes, and of course, independent candidate Matt Shanahan was doing very well there. Of course, he's a native of the local area, but of course, that doesn't give an accurate picture of the entire constituency. So as more and more boxes are being opened, we're beginning to get a clearer picture.